Has Princess Cruises lost its way? Or is it just a temporary blip as it gets back to speed? I've been asked this increasingly by cruisers coming off recent Princess Cruises. They're worried about the service, the menus, the food, and the much hyped Medallion. I'm Gary Bembridge. Welcome aboard. I've been on 3 Princess trips in the last 12 months on Regal Princess, Sky Princess, and Majestic Princess. And here's what I think are the things they're getting very wrong and the things they're getting very right now. While some of the issues that people are raising, like erratic service, should be temporary and can, I think, be put down to post-shutdown challenges that all lines are suffering in recruiting experienced staff, I'm convinced some of the changes, some of the issues are much more permanent, because I see evidence that Princess Cruises is in transition and they are aiming to appeal to a different user. The enforced cruise shutdown, I think, has accelerated and made this change much more obvious. While waiting to board a competitive line recently, I was chatting to some followers of the channel, also recently of Princess like I was, and they said they were confused about what Princess now stood for, as their recent trip had just felt off. I said to them that during the cruise shutdown, they need to remember that Princess made some big changes. First of all, they are now a mostly big ship fleet. During the shutdown, they sold many of their smaller ships, leaving them a mostly mega and large ship cruise line. Mega ships, by the way, are those carrying 3,500 passengers or more. So all their 6 newer ships, Sky Princess, Regal Princess, Discovery Princess, Enchanted Princess, Majestic Princess, and Royal Princess are all mega ships. They then have 4 large ships carrying over 3,000 passengers and only 5 mid-sized ships left in their fleet under that size. This means that they need to fill these big ships with more people per sailing than ever before. And I think we've seen some changes in focus and priorities to do just that, leading us, certainly as regular travelers, increasingly experience a Princess that we're much less familiar with and used to. I'm seeing, for example, they're becoming much more family and much more multi-generational, family friendly. I've seen many more kids on Princess than I had ever seen before. For example, when I was on Majestic Princess in Alaska, it was packed with families with kids. They overtook the swimming pools, there were really busy kids clubs, there was lots of multiple occupancy of cabins and fully booked family cabins. For example, both cabins on either side of me had 4 people staying in them with parents and, of course, the kids. Even on excursions, Princess have now got partnerships with Discovery and Animal Planet to have much more family-friendly offers and excursions. And they really have elevated and expanded the kids club in size, in facilities, and in program. It's really changed significantly. Friends of mine have started choosing Princess for the great kids clubs option. That's something pretty new. And I've been following their sailings this summer out of the UK on ships like Sky Princess, based out of Southampton, and I've seen so many more families on those ships. Princess seems to be shifting away from what it traditionally has been, a much more adult and couples experience. They're now appealing to a wider audience, including giving families and younger groups of friends, I think, as well, a traditional, more sedate, classic cruising experience alternative to those hectic resort-style mass lines like Norwegian, Royal Caribbean, MSC, and Carnival, which all have those big bells and whistles and water parks and rock climbing walls. They're offering an alternative to that. Further evidence of this focus is they have no solo cabins, even on their newer ships, unlike other similar competing lines like Holland America, Cunard, and even new entrant Virgin has solo cabins. But the Princess ships do have an increasing number of cabins that can take a 3rd and a 4th guest on a sofa or pull-up beds, and those family cabins I was talking about earlier. So I think it's going through a shift, and that could be throwing regular and historic Princess travelers like me certainly off, and why I think more and more people are feeling it's a different experience, like me, to be honest. Now, while I could argue that Princess are trying to offer choice and help people on various budgets as part of this whole evolution they're going through, I think they are in danger of confusing all of us as they keep changing and keep making their fares more and more complicated. At the time of recording, they've recently changed now to 3 fares. They have Princess Standard, which is a basic standard cruise fare with all of the extras charged individually once you're on board, or you can actually pre-book some of them. Then they have Princess Plus, which has a beverage package, Wi-Fi, and what they call crew appreciation, or as we call them, gratuities. Then there's Princess Premier. Now this includes all of the Plus package and then adds some specialty dining, a photo package, and the chance to win various princess prizes. So each day on your stateroom door, on the screen, you look to see if you won a prize, and you could have won onboard credit, spending, vouchers, wine tasting, chef's table, and even free cruises. And once a year, they give away $100,000 in cash. Fares are definitely not as straightforward as they used to be, and trying to work out if the levels are good value for you, I find pretty much challenging now, especially if, say, like me, you don't want or need all of the perks and add-ons, say, like a drinks package. Based on those 3 cruises on 3 different ships in the last year, I did not find food as good as their closest competitors in the included dining venues, although it was pretty good and matched in the specialty added charge Crown Grill and Sabatini's. Having also been on all those similar lines in the last year too, Princess felt to me to have a smaller menu choice and not as good food compared to Cunard, Holland America, Celebrity, or even the new entrant Virgin Voyages. And it probably was about parity with P&O Cruises in the UK, which is very close to them as a line as well. The other lines have really upped it with culinary councils and celebrity chef partnerships, and I suspect that Princess knows this is a weakness because they've recently announced the appointment of the US chef Rudy Soderman as head of Princess Culinary Arts. He leads their sister Carnival-owned Holland America Culinary Council, which has done an amazing job upping the food on that line. So hopefully this will change from a weakness quite soon. The fourth thing that Princess is not quite getting right at present is delivering on what they have chosen as their big point of difference to other cruise lines. So while other competitive lines have chosen physical features as their standout point of difference, Princess have not gone down that route. Holland America's unique feature, for example, is their series of themed music venues called the Music Walk. Celebrity now has their distinctive new ships with infinity balconies and the retreat suites with lounge and deck. Virgin Voyages has no main dining room and multi all-included specialty restaurants and really quirky entertainment. And of course, Cunard has the only ocean liner at sea, transatlantics, the grills, inside program, and white glove afternoon tea. The thing Princess have chosen to be the thing to set them apart from others is making all their ships what they call Medallion class. This uses a technology entwined with the cruising experience with a wearable medallion, an app linked to the medallion, and supposedly better Wi-Fi. It's supposed to make the cruising experience faster, easier, and more personalized, especially with their ships getting bigger and having to handle more passengers. This becomes important. With bigger ships, for example, crew will struggle to remember our names, and the medallion brings up our picture and our name to assist them. The medallion unlocks my cabin. I can order food and drinks to wherever I am. I can charge items on board, and even now, when I'm out in some ports like in Alaska, I could use the medallion to charge stuff directly to the ship. Now, other than the medallion itself, which is great for simplifying things like opening your door and the purchasing, the app itself on all my trips was very glitchy, and social media and cruise review sites are full of the same experience. The apps on less technology leading lines, even like Holland America and Celebrity, on those trips that I did between these various Princess trips, all their apps worked better, although admittedly they do have less features in, but they definitely were better and less glitchy. Now, like most, I was expecting amazing Wi-Fi from all the Princess hype, and again on my 3 trips, Medallion Net was not as good as on the other cruise lines that I've mentioned, and I've seen many people posting about their frustrations around the whole Wi-Fi area. Princess is making a big play with Medallion class ships, but it's still glitchy and it's not quite running brilliantly. So now, until it's up and running, it's not really for me a key strength or advantage yet. It's a little bit of a weakness. So those are the 4 things they're not quite getting right these days. But let's get much more upbeat and look at what Princess, in my view, is getting right these days. First of all, Princess was and remains incredibly popular. It's the largest in the premium line category. It's bigger than Holland America, Celebrity, Virgin and Cunard based on the number of passengers that go on Princess cruises. It is the biggest cruise line after the big four resort mass lines, after Carnival, Royal Caribbean, MSC and Norwegian. So this is a big line. So clearly appealing to an ever wider audience seeking a premium classic experience is working. And I think the reason for that is it's driven by their consistency. Even though I'm less of a fan of it, but many clearly see it as a big plus, is that all their ships, layout, venues and decor are basically carbon copies. The ships are all very samey inside. This means incredibly predictable and very consistent experience right across every ship in the fleet. So no matter which ship you step on, it is the same. This definitely appeals to many, many people. Another reason for their popularity, and for me the thing that they do best, better than their direct competitors, and certainly for me the main reason I would choose Princess, is around destinations. They claim to call on over 300 ports, but key is not only do they have this massive range of destinations that in fact most of the others also claim, but because they have a bigger fleet, 15 ships than the others, they call on those places more frequently and the regions they're in with much more depth. So for example, in Alaska, while they're second only to Holland America in terms of time sailing there, they have multiple ships based there in the season. You can sail out of Seattle, Vancouver and Whittier. They own and operate scenic trains in Alaska, buses and lodges too. They also home-based ships at various times of the year around the world, offering intensive trips. So for example, they base ships in Japan and they do incredibly intensive Japan itineraries, really fascinating itineraries over and over again. They base multiple ships every year in the UK and they do incredible round UK, Norwegian fjords and Northern European sailings from there. They even base ships in Australia and do phenomenal around Australia and New Zealand itineraries. They even base ships on the US West Coast and do Hawaii and West Coast deep dives. The other close competitors visit many of these places, but with limited sailings by a long way by comparison with Princess. The next thing that I think Princess are doing really well is, although I have touched on it so far, is offering a viable classic cruising option for multi-generational travelers. Many traditional cruisers are less keen to go on those big mass resort lines like Royal Caribbean, but this was really their only option if they wanted to include and satisfy all of the ages of the family when they were traveling with family and grandkids, for example. But now with the changes, Princess is offering a real alternative with a range of cabins, excursions, kids clubs, activities, so multi-generational travelers know they can go on Princess and even their younger family members will no longer feel out of place on a classic cruising experience. Another thing that I think they're doing well is making it more affordable. As they're moving into bigger and bigger ships, I guess that they're obviously able to leverage costs much more than on smaller ships. But when I look at what Princess is doing, they're constantly offering deals, attractive pricing, even in the premium category. They're offering great deals for third and fourth guests to stay in a cabin, and they offer very low deposits, sometimes as low as $50 or £50 to book a cruise. So catering for a much more budget conscious traveler. They have a wide range of cabins and choices from inside cabins right through to suites, but even the suites tend to be less costly than their direct competition, and it's partly because they don't have as many added suite features. They just have a small lounge, they have an area within the main dining room, unlike other lines like say Celebrity, which has a dedicated separate restaurant, a big lounge and a massive big deck for suite guests. If all of this though makes you think the Princess isn't the right cruise line for you and you still want a premium experience that's a little bit more adult, watch this video about Holland America, starting with the one thing that I think people get wrong about Holland America, they misunderstand about the line. See you over there.